Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This seemingly simple question demonstrates the value and the power of the completing the square technique in solving quadratic equations. See, if you try to factor this one out, you won't be successful, because this little expression cannot be factored. So how are you going to solve this? Well, you can solve this using completing the square technique. If you recall, the first thing to do here is to make sure that the coefficient in the first term, the a here, is 1. In this case, the a happens to be 1, so we're good. The second thing then was to take this over here on the other side, and we get x squared plus x equals 1. And then, if you recall, we take half of this coefficient, which is 1, and write it over here. That is, this is half of 1. Half of 1, of course, is just half. And then, as you recall, you square that and add that to the side. Square root of 1/2 is 1/4. But then you can't add it to just one side, so therefore we add it to both sides like this. And then we make our parentheses like this. We put a square over there, and this will be x, and this sign will be plus because this sign is plus, and the 1/2 will drop straight down like this, just like the apple. We simplify this over here. That's 1 plus 1/4, getting a common denominator. This will become 4 plus 1, and that is 5/4. So this simplifies to 5/4 like this. And then we can take the square root of both sides, plus and minus here on this side. This will become x plus 1/2 equals to plus or minus square root of 5/4 like this. We can simplify this as square root of 5 over square root of 4, and this is plus or minus square root of 5 over 2. So I can rewrite this as x plus 1/2 equals plus or minus square root of 5 over 2. I'm just going to rewrite that over here. X plus 1/2 equals plus or minus square root of 5 over 2. Now, you can separate this into two equations, but in this case we won't be able to simplify any, so I'm just going to add negative 1/2 to both sides like this. Then I'll have x is equal to negative 1/2 plus or minus square root of 5 over 2. Now you understand there are two answers over here because of this plus or minus 5. And in this case, since the denominators are the same, you can combine these, and you can say x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus square root of 5 all over 2 like this. And these are our two answers. X is equal to negative 1 plus or minus square root of 5 over 2, and x is equal to negative 1 minus square root of 5 over 2. Now I hope you appreciate how beautiful this technique is, because if it weren't for this technique, we would be kind of stumped over here in solving this equation, if we were to try to do it, that is, by factoring. Until next time, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah, walhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum.